Hello and welcome to my coverage of the 2023 Dales Divide. It's the 7th of April and this is the Easter long weekend. And what better way to spend it than riding your bike across Yorkshire? So we'll just go onto the map to start with, and you can see here a rough idea of the route. So essentially it's a coast to coast. Those who are unfamiliar with the UK and the north of England, you can see basically this route crosses the Yorkshire Dales and the North Yorkshire Moors. So the western portion here, where the riders are currently based, is the Yorkshire Dales. There's a bit of flat in the middle, and then you've got the North Yorkshire Moors on the kind of the eastern side of the country. So this race has been covered on Track Leaders, which is, I think, is my favourite tracker. It's kind of the original one, and it's just really nice and simple to use. We'll go into the details of the race in a second. But if you go on the About page of the Track Leaders coverage, it gives you a bit of a brief kind of overview of the race. So it's very much a race that's designed for everyone to be able to just have a go. If you look at this highlighted section at the bottom here, in total the route is 600 kilometres and 8,000 metres of climbing. But most importantly, the race is open to all, free, and set to encourage all riders to improve skills and prepare riders for bigger events such as the Tour Divide and the Silk Road. Now this event is put together totally voluntarily by Chris Elison. He actually lives on the route in the Yorkshire Dales. He's done the Tour Divide and events like that, so he knows his stuff, and he's really giving back to the community. So it's really good to show some support for the race, and also he gets a lot of riders. So we've got 172 riders taking part, mostly from the UK. Although there are a few from elsewhere. If we look at the current state of play, you'll see that Justyna Slavenka he's leading, and he's not from the UK. He actually lives in Norway. I think he's Lithuanian, but his family live in the UK. So he's come over for Easter and is doing the race. And then we've got some other kind of names that you might know. Mainly in the UK cycling scene. Oliver Hayward, he had a really good ride at Atlas until he got ill, so he was right up there with the front runners. So he'll be looking to do a good ride here. Liam Yates, again, he's done a lot of riding. Obviously, he's kind of riding is like a cycling influencer. He's done things like Silk Road. I think he's done TCR. I'm not sure if he's finished those yet, but he's done a really good ride at the Pennine Rally last year, which is a similar kind of distance and terrain. So he's one to keep an eye on. And the women's, we've got Molly Weaver. Again, we've been through that in the Atlas Mountain coverage that I did previously. Ex-professional in the women's pro peloton. She's got that engine. I did see she posted on her social media that maybe she wasn't really sort of fully up for racing non-stop. But I tend to find normally when people say they're not going to try and win a race, they end up winning. So I'm not sure if it's psychology or what. And there's a few other kind of people in there, familiar faces from the UK scene. So yeah, it should be quite a good race just to follow and see what's going on. So I've actually got an insider in the race. So you may recall the name Angus Young. He actually won this event last year and set an FKT, but he's out riding with his partner as a pair. So I've got a little bit of intel into what's going on the route, and hopefully give you a bit more of an insight onto the conditions. So as you can see, most of the riders are going over the Dales on the way out before the flatlands cutting across to the moors. So conditions up there, Angus reckons that it can be quite wet up there. We've had a lot of rain in the UK, but it's looking like it's drying out. So just to give you an idea, there's a lot of it's a mixed terrain kind of event. You can see there's a lot of, this is a typical kind of track in the Yorkshire Dales. Stone walls either side. These are all kind of drovers paths and farm tracks. So you can ride a gravel bike fairly easily on this course. Equally, a mountain bike hardtail is also appropriate. Probably a mountain bike is faster on a lot of the sections, but then there are some quite fast rolling sections as well. So you've got a mixture of, you tend to go up these tracks, and then there tends to be quite a bit of grassland and moorland. There's a lot of sheep grazing in this area. So as you can see, it looks quite dry at the moment from the video from Angus. However, you can imagine that that if it rained, that would be really heavy going. So finishing time is very much dependent on conditions. There's a bit of hike bike, as you can see, but look at that. I mean, blue skies, perfect. Still looks like it's fairly cold. We'll check on the weather in a minute. And then we've got a little update from Angus as well.
So just checking in from the Dales Divide. We're about 80k or so. The sun is out. Ground's pretty wet. But ultimately it's all okay. Megan and I are riding as a pair. Crushing it. Yeah, the first 80k or so have been pretty hilly. And the ground's been fairly wet, but it's been good progress. Morale's high because the sun is out. Living a dream. And
there we go, the sun is out, and if you're from the UK or you know about the UK, we like to complain about the weather. So if the sun's out, then it's all good. Now speaking of the weather, let's have a quick look on Windy and see what's happening. Excuse me. So as you can see, we're on Friday. So essentially there's 4 days to do this race. Looks like there's a bit of a low pressure, a high pressure that's sort of sat above, a bit of cold air. So the wind isn't looking too bad. It's almost looking kind of across tailwinds most of today. And then as they get across the, so we're looking north of Hull here in this area. And then as they kind of head over the moors tonight, it could be a little bit windy. It looks like a bit of a headwind, but then if they're fast enough round, they're going to get pushed back again. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And cooler temperatures, sort of 9. It's going to be like probably 5, 6, 7 degrees, I would have thought, overnight. 4 degrees in Hull. Yeah, so it's not going to be super warm. But the conditions could be a hell of a lot worse. So let's have a quick look at the tracker, see what's going on. As you can see, we've got the leaderboard here, which gives you a nice breakdown. So the race is now 10 hours old. I'm talking at 7:15 on the Friday. Justinus, he's in the lead. He's been through the 3rd checkpoint. Only 3 riders there. So yeah, it looks like he's sort of putting out a bit of a gap now. So he's done 200k, so he's got just under 10k lead. Oh, Jill's on an independent time trial, so she's not in that list. Bit deceiving. So we're looking at Simon Humphries in 2nd, Liam Yates in 3rd, and Ollie Hayward in 4th. These guys look like they're all within a few k of each other, and Justinus has about 20k lead. Now I wouldn't expect Justinus to sleep. He's pretty good at going hard. I mean, he's an incredible talent, and I would have put him down as my favourite pre-race. So as you can see, he's gradually kind of pulling away at the front of the head of the race there. Let's dig into the map a little bit, see where he's at. So it looks like he's dropped down sort of into the flat area now. It might explain why he's got a bit more of a gap, just because he's gone downhill where the others are still going uphill. And then I believe there's quite a lot of roads and stuff go through the centre of York, really good resupply point. And then head out east over the moors to Scarborough. And this area is really rolling. It's quite deceptive. It doesn't look like much on the map. Lots of short, sharp hills though. It kind of really wears you out, this area around here. And then you're up on the high exposed area at the top here. Excuse me. You may notice this little shortcut in the middle. Essentially, because it's a really kind of like open to all kind of route, there is a planned shortcut. So if you get to York and you're really not feeling it, you can follow this, and it basically cuts out the North Yorkshire moors, and then you're back on near sort of North Allerton area. And you can make your way back to the finish. That's the beauty of it. This is a race where there's plenty of points where if you need to, you can cut short. You know, if you're having problems or you feel like maybe you're not up to it, there's plenty of scope for that. So the race is starting to establish itself. See Molly's got quite a big lead now over Nikki Shaw, who's over here. There's Alan Goldsmith, creator of the Highland Trail 550. So yeah, plenty of decent experienced riders in here. Neil Copeland's in there. Carl Hops, he's run GB Dura a few times and this route a few times. Adam Palin, he's good. So yeah, a solid course. I guess a big question on the first day is who's going to go through the night and who's not. That will really kind of shape the race going forward into the next few days. There have been a few scratches already. If we scroll down to the bottom here, so yeah, quite a couple. I know Simon and I did a little bit of investigating. There he is with his pint, but it looks like his rear mech has detached itself from its bike along with his chain, which is not a good sign on the first day of a race like this. So he is out the race, but he looks quite happy with his wife Anne down the pub. Other social media updates. See what Justinus is up to. He's normally pretty good with his stories. So yeah, I mean, it looks like he's pretty fueled up to go for a long way. I don't know what they are, jelly babies or wine gums or something, or a mix of everything by the looks of it. And this must have been the start, so you can see it's looked like a bit of group. You know, these things always go off hard, so the first sort of few hours you can't really kind of take much from the thing. I mean, look at the speed. If they're ever taking Justinus like that, then you know they're going too hard. There's Liam Yates. So yeah, nice and rolling to get going, and then obviously we get up on the moors. Those little videos Angus sent me, and yeah, there we go. Excuse me. Let's have a look. See, not much posted from Liam at the moment. He's obviously working pretty hard, so not putting much on social media. However, there was a little shot of his bike. He's running the Canyon hardtail by the looks of it. Fully rigid. To be honest, I personally probably would have just run a fork, but he's got the nice big tyres on there. 2.3, so should be plenty of cushion there. Quite fast rolling. Again, he's going quite light. I don't think many riders are going to stop at the pointy end of the race overnight. So you can see there's a distinct lack of storage for sleeping gear. Nikki Shaw, again, no post as of yet. So this was a pre-race, obviously she rides in Albion gear, so she's going to have some warm kit to get wrapped up in. Again, looking at her bike, she's gone for the mountain bike with a fork. Again, just a frame pack and a top tube back. I suspect she won't be sleeping tonight and she's going to be going for a oneer. Adrian O'Sullivan, he's created the Transatlantic Way. He's out there on a gravel bike and he stopped for an ice cream. So he's going to be well fueled up. So yeah, it looks like, again, not much luggage, I suspect. It looks like he might have a bivvy in there. You can see it's been slightly muddy as well. So yeah, it all looks quite nice. I suspect if you're on a track you'll be fine, and then if you get off it might be a bit wet. There we go, at the start everyone's wrapped up, so it obviously is fairly chilly. So yeah, so that's all I've got for my first daily update for the Dales Divide. I'll probably do 3 or 4 of these over the course of the event. Keep you updated. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, just put them in the comments. I'll probably do a Q&A session after the race. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all of that stuff. And yeah, see you tomorrow.